The emergency alarm screamed through the halls of the Galactic Council's main station. Red lights flashed on every wall as council members from dozens of different alien species ran to their posts. Something terrible was happening somewhere in their galaxy, and they needed to act fast. Commander Zethka, a tall blue alien with 4 arms, rushed into the main control room. His large black eyes looked at the screens showing data from across the galaxy. The other council members were already their faces showing fear and worry. "What is the situation?" Zethka asked as he took his seat at the big round table. "We got a distress call from the Zalani research station," said Dr. Yulan, a small green alien with big ears. Her voice shook as she spoke. "The signal came from Kepler 442c. It's bad, Commander." "Very bad." Zethka felt his stomach drop. The Zalani were peaceful people who only wanted to study science and help others. They had no weapons and no army. If someone was attacking them, they could not fight back. "Show me the message," he said. The main screen lit up, and a Zalani scientist appeared. Her face was covered in purple blood, and her lab coat was torn. Behind her, they could hear explosions and screaming. "This is Dr. Amara from Kepler 442c research station," she said, looking straight at the camera. "We are under attack by Vorthan pirates. They came out of nowhere with 20 ships. Our shields are down, and they have boarded the station." Another explosion shook the camera, and Dr. Amara fell to the ground. She got back up quickly and continued talking. "They have taken over most of the station. 3,000 people are trapped here. Scientists, workers, and their families. The pirates are demanding 1 million credits for each person. That's 3 billion credits total." Her voice broke as she spoke. "Please, someone help us." "They said they will start killing people if the council doesn't pay. We have children here. Please." The screen went black. The room was silent for a long moment. Nobody wanted to say what they were all thinking. 3 billion credits was more money than the council had. Even if they could get that much, giving it to pirates would only make the problem worse. "How long do we have?" asked Council Member Vrix, a tall alien that looked like a walking tree. Dr. Yulan checked her computer. "The message was sent 6 hours ago. Based on what we know about Vorthan pirates, they usually give targets 1 day to respond before they start hurting people. Where is our nearest fleet?" Zethka asked. "Fleet 7 is closest, but they are 3 weeks away," said Admiral Corks, the military leader. He was a big gray alien with thick skin like armor. "Fleet 2 could be there in 2 weeks if they push their engines hard." 2 weeks? Zethka stood up so fast his chair fell over. "Those people will be dead in 2 weeks. The pirates will kill them all long before we get there." "We could try to negotiate," suggested Dr. Yulan. "Maybe we can get them to wait longer or accept less money." Admiral Cork shook his head. "These are Vorthan pirates. They don't negotiate. They take what they want and kill anyone who gets in their way. Their leader, Scarix, is known for being especially cruel. He enjoys making people suffer." The council members looked at each other with hopeless faces. They all knew the truth. There was nothing they could do. By the time any help arrived, all 3,000 Zalani would be dead. "Wait," said a voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned to look at Junior Analyst Pip, a small furry alien who usually just took notes during meetings. "What about the Sol System?" The room became very quiet. Nobody liked to talk about the Sol System. "That is not an option," Admiral Cork said firmly. "The Sol System is quarantined for good reasons." "But they have ships," Pip continued, his voice getting stronger. "Fast ships, and they're only 5 days away from Kepler 442c. "Those are Deathworlders," whispered Dr. Yulan. "We don't even know if they would help us." "They might be worse than the pirates." Zethka had heard the stories about Sol 3, also called Earth. It was a terrible planet where everything tried to kill everything else. The creatures that lived there, called humans, were supposed to be violent and dangerous. The Council had decided long ago to keep them away from the rest of the galaxy. What do we actually know about them? Zethka asked. "Not the stories, but real facts." Pip pulled out a data pad and read from it. "They have been watching our radio. Signals for over 50 years. They know our languages. They have built spaceships and visited other planets in their system. Our long-range scans show they have weapons, but we don't know how powerful they are. They're from a Class 12 death world, Admiral Cork said. Nothing good comes from planets like that. The gravity is twice what most species can handle. The weather is violent. There are deadly animals everywhere. Any species that survives on a world like that must be extremely dangerous. But are they evil? Asked Dr. Ylan. There's a difference between dangerous and evil. Nobody had an answer for that. The Council had made the decision to avoid contact with humans before anyone had actually tried to talk to them. All they knew were guesses and fears. Zethka looked at the black screen where Dr. Amara's message had played. Somewhere in space, 3,000 innocent people were waiting to die. The Council was supposed to protect them, but they couldn't. Their fleets were too far away and their money wasn't enough. How would we even contact them? He asked. We have their communication frequencies, Pip said quietly. We've been listening to their signals for decades. We know how to reach them. And if they say no? Asked Admiral Corks. Then we're no worse off than we are now, Zethka replied. The Council members talked among themselves in worried voices. Some said it was too dangerous to contact the humans. Others said it was wrong to let the Zalani die when there might be a way to save them. Finally, Zethka called for quiet. All in favor of sending a distress call to the Sol system? Slowly, hands and claws and tentacles rose around the room. It wasn't everyone, but it was enough. All opposed? Fewer appendages rose this time. Zethka nodded. The motion passes. Dr. Ylan. Prepare a message to transmit to Earth. Tell them about the situation and ask for their help. What should I say about payment? She asked. We can't afford to pay them much. Tell them the truth, Zethka said. We're asking for help because it's the right thing to do, not because we can pay for it. An hour later, Dr. Ylan finished writing the message. She read it out loud to the Council before sending it. To the people of Earth and the Sol system, this is the Galactic Council. We know we have never spoken before, but we need your help. Pirates have attacked a peaceful research station and are holding 3,000 innocent people hostage. Our ships cannot reach them in time to save them. You are the only ones close enough to help. We do not know if you will answer, or if you care about the lives of aliens you have never met. But if there is any kindness in your hearts, please help them. The people on that station have done nothing wrong. They are scientists who only want to learn and help others. They have children with them. Please, time is running out. The message was sent across space toward the small yellow star called Sol. Now all they could do was wait and hope that somewhere in that distant system, someone was listening who would care enough to help. Meanwhile, at the edge of human space, the UES Retribution moved silently through the darkness between stars. It was humanity's newest warship, built for long patrol missions along Earth's borders. The ship was big and gray, with thick armor and weapons hidden beneath its hull. Captain Sarah Chun sat in her command chair, reading reports from the night shift. She was a small woman with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had fought in 3 wars and commanded ships for 15 years. Her crew trusted her completely. Captain, called Lieutenant Rodriguez from the communications station. We're getting a strange signal on the emergency frequencies. What kind of signal? Chun asked, setting down her reports. It's not from any human ship or station. The language is... Well, it's not human, but our computers are translating it. Chun felt her heart beat faster. For decades, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. They had listened to space for signs of other intelligent life, but had never found any, if this was real. Put it on the main screen, she ordered. The message played, and the bridge crew listened in shocked silence. When it was over, nobody spoke for a long moment. Ma'am, said Commander Park, Chun's second in command. What are your orders? Chun looked at the star charts on her screen. Kepler 442c was 5 days away at maximum speed. If they left now, they could get there before the pirates started killing people. Mr. Rodriguez, send a reply to that signal. Tell them the UES Retribution is responding to their distress call and will arrive in 5 days. Aye, Captain. Mr. Park, set course for Kepler 442c, maximum speed. Captain, said Dr. Williams, the ship's science officer. Shouldn't we contact Earth Command first? This is first contact with an alien species. Shouldn't the government handle this? Chun thought about the 3,000 innocent people waiting to die while politicians talked and made plans. She thought about the children mentioned in the message. Doctor, there's an old human saying, evil wins when good people do nothing. Those people ask for help, and we're the only ones who can give it. We can worry about politics later. What about the pirates? Asked Commander Park. We don't know how many ships they have or what kind of weapons. Chin smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. Then I guess they're about to find out what happens when you threaten innocent people and humans find out about it. The Retribution turned toward Kepler 442c and accelerated to full speed. Behind them, the message was already being sent back. To the Galactic Council, help is coming. But nobody in the galaxy knew what kind of help they had just asked for. The humans were coming, and they were bringing their own brand of justice to the stars. The UES Retribution cut through space like a knife through water. For 5 days, the ship had traveled at maximum speed toward Kepler 442c. Captain Sarah Chun walked through the corridors, checking on her crew as they prepared for whatever they would find. The ship was alive with activity. In the weapons bay, Sergeant Martinez and his Marines cleaned their rifles and checked their armor. In engineering, Chief Petty Officer Kim made sure the engines and shields were running perfectly. Everyone knew they were heading into a fight. Captain, to the bridge, came the voice over the ship's speakers. Chun quickened her pace and took the elevator up to the command center. What do you have for me, Mr. Park? She asked as she entered the bridge. Commander Park pointed at the main screen. We're approaching the Kepler system now, Captain. Long-range sensors are picking up multiple ships near the 4th planet. How many? Chun asked, settling into her command chair. 23 vessels around the research station. Most appear to be light cruisers and fighters, and Captain Park paused. We're also detecting 17 destroyed ships. It looks like the station's defenders tried to fight back. Chun felt anger rise in her chest. The peaceful Zelani had tried to protect their families and friends, but they were scientists, not soldiers. They never had a chance against pirates. Any word from the station itself? We're picking up some communications, but it's mostly pirate chatter. They seem to be arguing about the ransom demand. Put me through to their command frequency, Chun ordered. Lieutenant Rodriguez worked at his station for a moment. You're connected, Captain? Sheen picked up the microphone. Attention Vorthan vessels. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Retribution. I am ordering you to release all hostages immediately and surrender. The bridge was quiet as they waited for a response. After a few seconds, laughter came through the speakers. It was a cruel, harsh sound. What is this? Said a deep, rough voice. Another council peacekeeping ship? You're too late, alien. We already have what we came for. This is your final warning, Chun said, her voice cold and steady. Release the hostages or face the consequences. More laughter came through the speakers. Look at your sensors, little ship. We have 23 vessels to your 1. Run away before we decide to add your crew to our collection. The communication ended with a click. Commander Park looked at the tactical display. Captain, they're not wrong about the numbers. We're seriously outnumbered. Chun smiled, and her bridge crew recognized that expression. They had seen it before other battles, and it never meant good things for their enemies. Mr. Rodriguez scanned their ships. I want to know what we're dealing with. Aye, Captain. Scanning now. Rodriguez worked at his console for several minutes. Captain, these ships are old, very old. Most of them are at least 50 years behind our technology. Their weapons appear to be basic plasma cannons and ion torpedoes. What about their shields and armor? Standard energy shields, but they're not very strong. The armor appears to be basic metal alloys, Chun nodded. This was better than she had hoped. The pirates had numbers, but they were flying museum pieces compared to human military technology. Captain, said Dr. Williams from the science station. I'm reading life signs. On the research station. At least 2,000 Zelani are still alive, but... She paused, checking her readings again. I'm also detecting human life signs. Humans? Chun asked. Surprised. Double quote. No, sorry, Captain. I mean humanoid life signs that aren't Zelani. Probably the pirates themselves. Chun studied the tactical display. The pirate ships were spread out around the station in a loose formation. They weren't expecting a real fight. They thought they were dealing with another weak council ship. Mr. Park, take us in slowly. I want them to think we're just another peaceful vessel. Aye, Captain. As the Retribution moved closer, Chun could see the research station on the main screen. It was a beautiful structure made of white metal and glass, with large windows that let in light from the system's star. But now parts of it were dark, and she could see damage from the pirate attack. Captain, called Rodriguez. We're getting another transmission from the pirates. Put it through. This time, a different voice came through the speakers. It was smoother and more intelligent than the first one. Unknown vessel, I am Commander Scarix of the Vorthen Syndicate. You will stop your approach immediately and prepare to be boarded. Chun had heard that name before. Scarix was famous throughout this part of the galaxy for his cruelty. Intelligence reports said he enjoyed torturing prisoners and had destroyed entire colonies just for fun. This is Captain Chun. We are responding to a distress call from the research station. We demand you release all hostages immediately. Another hero come to save the day, Scarix said with amusement in his voice. Let me show you what happens to heroes in my territory. The main screen changed to show the inside of the research station. Chun felt her blood turn cold. Scarix stood in what looked like the station's main laboratory, surrounded by dead bodies. Behind him, Chin could see dozens of Zelani scientists tied up on the floor. Many of them were injured, and all of them looked terrified. Scarix was a tall alien with gray skin and sharp teeth. He wore black armor covered in metal spikes, and his eyes were completely black. In his hand, he held a weapon that looked like a sword made of energy. You see, Captain Chun, I've been very patient with these scientists. I asked for a simple ransom, 3 billion credits, and all I got were excuses about how the council doesn't have enough money. He walked over to one of the tied-up Zelani and grabbed her by the hair. So I decided to send a stronger message. Don't, Chun said quietly, but Scarix was already raising his weapon. This is what happens to people who don't pay their debts. He said, and brought the energy sword down. The Zelani scientist screamed, and then was silent. Chun felt something break inside her chest. Around the bridge, her crew watched in horror as Scarix smiled at the camera. I will kill 10 more in 1 hour unless you turn around and leave, Scarix continued. This is not your concern, human. The transmission ended. The bridge was completely silent for a long moment. Chun stared at the blank screen, her hands gripping the arms of her command chair so tightly her knuckles were white. Captain? Commander Park said softly. Chun stood up slowly. When she spoke, her voice was very quiet, but everyone on the bridge could hear the anger in it. Red alert. All hands to battle stations. Activate stealth systems. Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. The bridge lights dimmed and turned red. Around them, the Retribution began to transform from a peaceful exploration vessel into a warship. Mr. Rodriguez, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we have made contact with hostile aliens and are engaging to protect innocent civilians. What about the Galactic Council? Asked Dr. Williams. Send them a message too. Tell them we're here and we're going to fix their pirate problem. The Retribution disappeared from pirate sensors as its stealth systems came online. To anyone watching, it would look like the human ship had simply vanished. Mr. Park, take us. To attack position. I want us between the station and their main battle group. Aye, Captain, moving to attack position. As the ship moved closer, Chun could see the pirate vessels more clearly. They were ugly ships painted in dark colors with weapons sticking out in all directions. Some of them had skulls and other decorations, painted on their hulls to make them look more frightening. Weapon status? Chun asked. All weapon systems online and ready, Captain, reported Lieutenant Thompson from the weapons station. Railguns loaded with tungsten penetrators, nuclear torpedoes armed and ready. Point defense systems active. Engineering, give me everything you've got. Engines at 110%, Captain, came Chief Kim's voice over the intercom. Shields at maximum power. We're ready for anything. Chun looked at the tactical display one more time. 23 pirate ships against one human vessel. Under normal circumstances, it would be suicide. But these weren't normal circumstances. And the Retribution wasn't a normal ship. Open a channel to all pirate vessels, she ordered. Channel open, Captain. Chen picked up the microphone again. This time, her voice was different. It was the voice of someone who had seen too much war, and was tired of watching innocent people die. Attention, Vorthan pirates. You have just made the biggest mistake of your lives. You murdered an innocent person while I was watching. You threatened children. You hurt people who never did anything to harm you. She paused, letting her words sink in. I am Captain Sarah Chun of the United Earthship Retribution. We are humans from the planet Earth, and we have come a very long way to answer a call for help. Through the bridge speakers they could hear confused voices from the pirate ships. The word human was being repeated over and over, along with Deathworlder and other terms Chun didn't recognize. You have one chance to live through the next hour, Chun continued. Surrender now, release all hostages, and prepare to be taken into custody. Refuse and learn why Earth is classified as a death world. Scarix's voice came back over the speakers, but now he sounded less confident than before. You are one ship against 23. Even Deathworlders cannot change mathematics, Chun smiled, but there was no humor in it. You're right about one thing, Scarix. We can't change mathematics. But we're about to teach you some new math. The kind where one human ship equals 23 dead pirates. You're bluffing, Scarix said, but Chun could hear uncertainty in his voice. Mr. Thompson, Chun said calmly. Target the ship closest to the station. Full spread of railgun rounds. Targets locked, Captain. Ready to fire. Fire. The Retribution shuddered slightly as its railgun spoke. 6 tungsten rods, each weighing 50 kilograms, shot out of the ship at 30% the speed of light. They crossed the distance to the pirate ship in less than a second. The pirate vessel simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, and the next moment it was the expanding cloud of glowing gas and metal fragments. Every communication channel erupted in screaming and shouting. The pirates had never seen weapons like this before. Their energy shields, designed to stop plasma bolts and ion beams, might as well have been made of paper against kinetic projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. What in the void was that? Scarix's voice cut through the chaos. That was a warning shot, Chun replied calmly. The next one won't be. On the tactical display, she could see the pirate ships beginning to move. Some were trying to get closer to the station, probably hoping to use the hostages as shields. Others were spreading out, preparing to attack. Captain, said Commander. Park. Multiple pirate vessels are powering weapons and moving to attack positions, Chun nodded. She had given them a chance to surrender, and they had chosen to fight instead. Now they would learn what happened when you threatened innocent people and humans found out about it. All weapons, free fire. Show them what Deathworlders can do. The battle for Kepler 442c was about to begin, and the pirates had no idea what they had gotten themselves into. The space around Kepler 442c exploded into chaos as the pirates opened fire on the Retribution. Dozens of plasma bolts and ion torpedoes streaked through the darkness, their bright colors lighting up the void like deadly fireworks. Captain Chun watched calmly as the enemy weapons approached her ship. Evasive maneuvers, return fire at will. The Retribution moved like a dancer, spinning and rolling to avoid the incoming fire. The few shots that did hit sparked harmlessly against the ship's shields. The pirates were used to fighting peaceful council vessels with weak defenses, not military warships built by a species that had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war. Target the 3 ships moving toward the station, Chun ordered. They're trying to get close enough to threaten the hostages. Lieutenant Thompson's fingers flew over his weapons console. Targets locked, firing rail guns. The Retribution's main weapons spoke again. This time, 8 tungsten rods shot out at incredible speed toward 3 different pirate ships. The rounds hit within milliseconds of each other. The first ship was struck in the engine section. The tungsten rod punched through the hull like it was made of paper, and the ship's reactor exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The second ship tried to turn away at the last second, but the railgun round caught it in the side and tore it completely in half. The third ship's captain must have seen what was coming because he tried to hide behind a large asteroid. The tungsten rod went through the rock and the ship behind it as if neither was there. 3 ships destroyed, Thompson reported. Remaining pirates are spreading out and regrouping. Chun studied the tactical display. The pirates were learning fast. Instead of charging straight at the human ship, they were now trying to surround it and attack from multiple directions at once. "Captain," called Dr. Williams from the science station, "I'm reading massive energy buildup from the largest pirate vessel. I think they're preparing some kind of super weapon." On the main screen, Chun could see the pirate flagship. It was twice the size of the other vessels and covered in weapons. Energy was gathering around a large cannon on its front end, crackling with purple electricity. "Time to completion?" Chun asked. 30 seconds, Captain." Chun made a quick decision. "Mr. Thompson, load nuclear torpedo, high yield, target their flagship." Thompson's eyes widened slightly, but he followed orders without question. "Nuclear. Torpedo loaded and targeted, Captain. Warhead is set to maximum yield." Around the galaxy, nuclear weapons were banned by every civilized species. They were considered too destructive, too dangerous, too likely to cause unnecessary death and suffering. Most alien races had given up such weapons centuries ago in favor of cleaner, energy-based attacks, but Earth had never signed those treaties. Humans still remembered what it was like to fight for survival against enemies who wanted to destroy everything they loved. Sometimes overwhelming force was the only language that bullies understood. "Fire," Chun said quietly. The torpedo launched from the Retribution's hull and accelerated toward the pirate flagship. It was much smaller than the railgun rounds, but it carried something far more destructive, the power of the atom itself. Compressed into a weapon that could destroy entire cities, the pirates saw it coming and fired everything they had at the approaching missile. Plasma bolts and defensive lasers tried to shoot it down, but the torpedo's shielding held. It reached the flagship and detonated. For a moment, a new star was born in the Kepler system. The nuclear explosion lit up space for millions of kilometers in every direction. When the light faded, there was nothing left of the pirate flagship, except glowing gas and scattered debris. "Sweet mother of stars," whispered Commander Park. "What was that weapon?" "Something we hoped we'd never have to use again," Chun replied grimly. The remaining pirate ships stopped firing. Their communications channels filled with panicked voices as captains and crews tried to understand what they had just witnessed. They had weapons that could destroy cities, but they had never seen anything that could make an entire ship vanish in a ball of fire. "Captain," Rodriguez called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the station. It's Commander Scarix. Put him through." Scarix's face appeared on the main screen, but he looked very different than before. His confident smile was gone, replaced by fear and anger. Behind him, Chen could see his crew running around in panic. "What kind of monsters are you?" Scarix shouted. "That weapon. It's against every law of civilized warfare." Chun's expression didn't change. "You murdered an innocent scientist in cold blood. You're holding children hostage. You're a pirate and a killer. Don't talk to me about civilized warfare. You can't just destroy us all. We have rights under galactic law." "You gave up those rights when you decided to prey on helpless people," Chun replied. "But I'll give you one more chance. Surrender now, release all hostages, and you'll live." To stand trial, Scarix's face twisted with rage. "Never! Even if you destroy every ship in my fleet, you'll never get onto this station." I have 500 armed pirates inside, and they'll kill every hostage before you can reach them. The transmission ended. Chun turned to her crew. Mr. Park, prepare the boarding parties. Full battle gear. Captain, said Dr. Williams nervously. He's right about one thing. Even if we can get past their defenses, how do we take the station without getting the hostages killed? Chen smiled, and this time there was something dangerous in her expression. Doctor, you're thinking like a civilized person. These pirates have been terrorizing peaceful species for so long, they've forgotten what real predators look like. She activated the ship's internal communications. Attention all Marines, this is the captain. We have a hostage rescue mission. The enemy has threatened to kill innocent civilians, including children. You know what that means. Throughout the ship, 200 Marines began putting on their combat armor. These weren't the light protective suits used by Council peacekeepers. Human military armor was designed for fighting on Deathworlds where everything was trying to kill you. Sergeant Martinez stood in the Marine bay, helping his squad check their equipment. Each Marine wore powered armor that made them stronger and faster than any normal human. Their helmets had advanced sensors that could see through walls and in complete darkness. Their weapons were designed to punch through the heaviest armor. Listen. Up, people, Martinez called out to his Marines. We're going up against an unknown number of pirates holding innocent hostages. The enemy has energy weapons and basic armor. They've probably never fought humans before, so they don't know what to expect. Private Johnson raised her hand. Sergeant, what's the plan for the hostages? How do we keep them safe? Speed and violence, Martinez replied. We hit hard and fast. Take out the pirates before they can react. Remember your training. Identify targets carefully, but don't hesitate once you're sure. These pirates have already shown they'll kill innocent people. We don't give them the chance to do it again. Back on the bridge, Chun was watching the tactical display as her ship moved closer to the research station. The remaining pirate vessels were following at a distance, but they weren't attacking anymore. The nuclear explosion had taught them to be more careful. Captain, called Thompson, the station's defensive systems are coming online? Looks like the pirates are trying to use the station's own weapons against us. Can you disable them without damaging the station? Yes, ma'am. The station's weapons are designed for asteroid defense, not military combat. Our point defense systems can handle them easily. Do it. The Retribution's smaller weapons opened fire on the research station's defensive turrets. Precise laser beams destroyed each weapon without harming the rest of the structure. Within minutes, the station was defenseless. Docking bay is clear, reported Lieutenant Rodriguez. Ready for boarding operations. Chun nodded. Launch all shuttles. Begin the assault. 4 shuttles launched from the Retribution's bay and flew toward the research station. Each carried 50 Marines in full battle armor. They moved fast and low, using the station's own structure to hide from any remaining defensive weapons. The first shuttle reached the station's main docking bay and attached itself to the airlock. The Marines inside prepared for entry. Breach and clear, came Sergeant Martinez's voice over the radio. The shuttle's cutting tools burned through the station's airlock in seconds. The Marines poured through the opening like water through a broken dam. The pirates inside the station had been waiting for them, but they weren't ready for what came through that door. The first thing they saw were dark figures in heavy armor moving faster than anything that size should be able to move. The Marines' weapons spoke with sharp cracks that echoed through the corridors. The pirates tried to fire back, but their plasma bolts barely scratched the human armor. Meanwhile, the Marines' kinetic weapons punched through pirate defenses like they were made of cardboard. Contact front, Martinez reported over the radio. 20 pirates in the main corridor. Engaging. The battle inside the station was unlike anything the pirates had ever experienced. They were used to fighting Council peacekeepers who tried to avoid violence and minimize casualties. The humans had no such restrictions when dealing with people who threatened innocent civilians. Squad 2, we found a group of hostages in Laboratory 7, came another voice over the radio. 12 Zilani scientists, alive but injured. Squad 3 reporting, said another Marine. We've secured the children's area. 47 young Zalani all safe. Chun listened to the reports from her command chair. Her Marines were moving through the station like a force of nature, rescuing hostages and eliminating pirates with ruthless efficiency. Captain, called Dr. Williams, I'm tracking the Marine units on my sensors. They're moving incredibly fast. How are they clearing the station so quickly? Training, Chun replied simply. Every human child learns about monsters in their bedtime stories. We know how to deal with them. On the station, the pirates were learning that they had become the monsters in someone else's story. The humans moved through the corridors like ghosts, appearing wherever they were needed most and disappearing before the pirates could organize a defense. This is Squad 4, came a new voice over the radio. We found the main group of hostages. 200 Zalani in the central laboratory, but Captain they're being guarded by at least 50 pirates, including Commander Scarix himself. Chun felt her jaw tighten. The final confrontation was about to begin. All squads, converge on the central laboratory. Time to end this. The hunt for Scarix was about to begin, and the pirate commander was about to learn why humans were feared throughout the galaxy as the apex predators of their world. The central laboratory of the research station was the largest room in the entire complex. It had been designed as a place where hundreds of scientists could work together on important projects. Now it had become a prison where 200 terrified Zalani huddled together while 50 armed pirates pointed weapons at them. Commander Scarix stood in the center of the room, his black armor gleaming under the bright lights. His energy sword hummed in his hand as he watched the doors, waiting for the humans to arrive. Around him, his remaining pirates looked nervous and scared. They had heard the sounds of battle getting closer and closer as their friends died fighting the human Marines. Sir, said one of the pirates, a thin alien with green skin, maybe we should try to negotiate these humans. They're different. From the Council forces, they're actually winning. Scarix turned and slashed the pirate across the chest with his energy sword. The alien fell to the ground, dead before he hit the floor. Anyone else want to suggest surrender? Scarix asked loudly. The other pirates shook their heads quickly. Good, we are Vorthan warriors. We do not run from anyone, not even Deathworlders, but Scarix was lying. Inside, he was more scared than he had ever been in his life. His ships were being destroyed by weapons he had never seen before. His crew was being hunted through the corridors by enemies who moved like ghosts and fought like demons. Nothing in his experience had prepared him for fighting humans near the walls of the laboratory. The Zalani hostages tried to stay as quiet as possible. Dr. Amara, the scientist who had sent the original distress call, held 3 young Zalani, children close to her body. She could see the fear in their big eyes, but she also saw something else, hope. The sounds of fighting were getting closer, which meant their rescuers were winning. Don't worry, she whispered to the children. Help is coming. The humans are here to save us. One of the pirate guards heard her and pointed his weapon at her head. Shut up, or I'll kill you right now. Dr. Amara fell silent, but she didn't stop believing. Somewhere in the corridors outside, the humans were fighting their way closer. She had to trust that they would arrive in time, outside the laboratory. Sergeant Martinez crouched behind a corner with his squad. Through his helmet's sensors, he could see through the walls and into the room beyond. 50 pirates with energy weapons, 200 hostages, and 1 very dangerous enemy commander. Squad 2 in position, came a voice over his radio. Squad 3 ready, said another. Squad 4 standing by, reported the last team. Martinez had all 4 Marine squads surrounding the laboratory. Each squad had taken a different route through the station to get here, and now they were ready for the final assault. But this would be the hardest part of the mission. With so many hostages in such a small space, they had to be perfect. One mistake could get innocent people killed. This is Captain Chun, came the voice from the ship. Status report, Sergeant. We have the target location surrounded, Captain. 50 hostiles, 200 hostages. Scarix is in the center of the room with some kind of energy weapon. Can you take them without harming the civilians? Martinez studied his sensors again. The pirates were spread out around the room, but most of them were focused on the main entrance. They expected the humans to come through the doors like a normal assault team. They were wrong. Affirmative, Captain. We have a plan? Martinez switched to the Marine command frequency. All squads, listen up. We're going to hit them from 4 directions at once. Squad 1 takes the main entrance. Squad 2 breaches through the north wall. Squad 3 comes through the ceiling. Squad 4 takes the south wall. Sergeant, said Private Johnson from Squad 2. What about the hostages? How do we make sure they don't get caught in the crossfire? Speed and precision, Martinez replied. We go in fast, identify targets immediately, and take them down before they can react. Remember your training? These pirates have already shown they'll kill innocent people. We don't give them the chance. Inside the laboratory, Scarix was getting impatient. He had been waiting for the humans to attack for over an hour, but nothing was happening. The sounds of fighting in the corridors had stopped, which meant either his pirates had won or they were all dead. You 3, he said, pointing at some of his guards. Go check the corridors. Find out what's happening. The 3 pirates looked at each other nervously, but they obeyed. They walked toward the main door, their weapons ready. They never made it. The laboratory erupted in chaos as 4 Marine squads attacked at exactly the same moment. Squad 1 burst through the main doors just as the 3 guards reached them. Squad 2 blew a hole in the north wall and poured through the opening. Squad 3 dropped through the ceiling on rappelling lines, their weapons already firing. Squad 4 came through the south wall like an unstoppable force. The pirates tried to fight back, but they were completely overwhelmed. The humans moved faster than anything the pirates had ever seen, their powered armor allowing them to cross the large room in seconds. Their weapons fired with surgical precision, each shot carefully aimed to avoid hitting any hostages. Scarix watched in horror as his remaining crew was cut down around him. These weren't the careful, cautious council peacekeepers he was used to fighting. These were predators who had evolved on a world where only the strongest and smartest survived. Stay back, he screamed, grabbing Dr. Amara and holding his energy. Sword to her throat. I'll kill her. I'll kill them all. The Marines froze, their weapons trained on Scarix but unable to fire without risking the hostage. For a moment, the laboratory was silent except for the sound of frightened breathing from the Zilani civilians. You see? Scarix said, his voice shaking with fear and anger. You're not so tough when innocent lives are at stake. Your precious morals make you weak. Sergeant Martinez stepped forward, his rifle still pointed at the pirate commander. Let her go, you've lost. Your ships are destroyed, your crew is dead, it's over. No, Scarix shouted. I'm walking out of here, and I'm taking hostages with me. You're going to give me a ship, and you're going to let me leave this system. That's not going to happen, Martinez said calmly. Then watch her die. Scarix raised his energy sword, preparing to strike. He never got the chance. A single shot rang out from across the room. Private Chun, Sergeant Martinez's best sniper, had found the perfect angle through a gap in the crowd. Her bullet took Scarix in the head, killing him instantly. His energy sword fell from his lifeless fingers and clattered on the floor. Dr. Amara collapsed to her knees, shaking with relief. Around the room, the surviving Zilani began to cry and hug each other. After 3 days of terror, they were finally safe. All clear, Martinez reported over the radio. Hostiles eliminated. All civilians secure. Outstanding work, Sergeant, came Captain Chun's voice. Medical teams are on their way. As the Marines began helping the rescued hostages, Dr. Amara slowly stood up and walked over to Sergeant Martinez. She was a small alien, barely reaching his chest even in his armor, but her eyes were filled with gratitude. Thank you, she said, in heavily accented English. Thank you for saving us. Martinez removed his helmet, revealing a scarred face with kind eyes. Just doing our job, ma'am. Nobody threatens innocent people while humans are around to stop them. Dr. Amara looked around the room at the human Marines as they helped her people. These weren't the monsters she had been told about in council propaganda. These were protectors who had traveled across the galaxy to save people they had never met. "Why?" she asked. "Why did you come? We're not even the same species. You owe us nothing." Martinez thought about the question for a moment, because it was the right thing to do. Where we come from, good people don't stand by and watch while bullies hurt the innocent. 2 hours later, the rescue operation was complete. All surviving hostages had been evacuated to the Retribution's medical bay, where human doctors worked, alongside the ship's medical AI to treat their injuries. Most of the Zilani would recover fully, though some would need more time to heal from their psychological trauma. Captain Chun walked through the medical bay, checking on the rescued civilians. Many of them stared at her with a mixture of fear and gratitude. She was, after all, a representative of the species they had been taught to fear. Dr. Amara was sitting on one of the medical beds, her injuries treated and bandaged. When she saw Captain Chun approaching, she tried to stand up. "Please stay seated," Chun said gently. "You've been through enough, Captain Chun," Dr. Amara said. "I wanted to thank you personally, if you hadn't come ... "You don't need to thank me," Chun replied. "Any decent person would have done the same thing." "But that's just it," Dr. Amara said. "The Galactic Council told us that humans were dangerous, that you were violent and unpredictable. They said you should never be trusted." Chun smiled sadly. "We are dangerous, we are violent when we need to be. But we're only unpredictable to those who can't understand the difference between strength and cruelty." Dr. Amara nodded slowly. "The Council was wrong about you. You're not monsters, you're guardians." Before Chun could respond, Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Captain to the bridge. We're receiving multiple transmissions from Council space." Chun excused herself and headed to the bridge. When she arrived, she found her crew monitoring dozens of incoming messages from across the galaxy. "What's the situation, Mr. Rodriguez?" "Word about the rescue is spreading fast, Captain. We're getting messages from Council worlds, independent colonies, even some species I've never heard of. Everyone wants to know about the humans who defeated the Vorthan Syndicate." Chun looked at the tactical display. The remaining pirate ships had fled the system hours ago, probably carrying word of their defeat back to their bases. Soon, every pirate, slaver, and criminal organization in the galaxy would know that humans were no longer hiding in the Sol system. "Any word from Earth Command?" Admiral Harrison sends his congratulations and says the President wants a full report as soon as possible. He also says to tell you that the entire fleet is being put on alert. Chun nodded. She had known this moment would come eventually. Humanity could no longer hide from the galaxy, which meant they needed to be ready for whatever came next. "Mr. Park, set course for Earth, best possible speed." "Aye, Captain." As the Retribution prepared to leave the Kepler system, Chun took one last look at the research station. It would be rebuilt, and the Zilani would continue their peaceful work. But things would never be the same. The galaxy now knew that humans existed, and more importantly, they knew what humans were capable of when innocent lives were threatened. The age of humanity's isolation was over. The age of human guardianship had begun. 3 weeks after the rescue at Kepler 442c, the entire galaxy was talking about humans. News of the Vorthan Syndicate's defeat had spread to every corner of civilized space, carried by traders, diplomats, and refugees who had heard the impossible. Story of Deathworlders coming to save innocent lives on the Galactic Council station. Commander Zethka stood in the main communications center, watching the flood of messages pouring in from across the galaxy. Every day brought new reports of pirate groups surrendering to local authorities, slavers releasing their captives, and criminal organizations fleeing to the outer rim of known space. "Sir," said Junior Analyst Pip, approaching with a datapad in his furry hands, "we've received confirmation from 17 different systems. Criminal activity has dropped by 60% since word of the human intervention spread." Zethka nodded slowly. In 3 weeks, one human ship had accomplished what the Council's peacekeeping forces had been trying to do for decades. The mere knowledge that humans existed and were willing to fight for innocent people had sent shockwaves through the galaxy's criminal underworld. "Any word from the Sol system?" Zethka asked. "Yes, sir. Captain Chun's ship returned to Earth 2 days ago. The human government has agreed to send a representative to address the council." Zethka felt his stomach tighten with nervousness. For 50 years, the council had maintained a quarantine around the Sol system, convinced that the Deathworlders inside were too dangerous to contact. Now they had to face the reality that they had been wrong, and that humanity was coming whether they were ready or not. Dr. Yilan entered the communication center, her green skin looking pale with worry. "Commander, we need to talk. I've been analyzing the combat data from Kepler 442c. She activated a holographic display showing the battle between the Retribution and the pirate fleet. The images were grainy, captured by long-range sensors, but they clearly showed the devastating effectiveness of human weapons. These kinetic projectiles," she said, pointing at the display, "they're moving at 30% light speed. The energy required to accelerate metal to that velocity is enormous. And this explosion—" She showed the nuclear detonation that had destroyed the pirate flagship. "I've never seen anything like it. The energy output is equivalent to a small star." Zethka watched the replay of the battle with growing unease. "What are you saying?" "Doctor? I'm saying that one human warship could probably defeat our entire peacekeeping fleet. Their technology is decades ahead of ours in some areas, and their willingness to use extreme force makes them incredibly dangerous." "But they saved the Zelani," Pip pointed out. "They risked their lives to protect people they had never met." That's what makes them so frightening," Dr. Yilan replied. "They have the power to destroy civilizations, but they also have strong moral beliefs about protecting the innocent. We have no idea how they decide who deserves protection and who deserves destruction." Before anyone could respond, an alarm began sounding throughout the station. The communication boards lit up with incoming priority messages. "What's happening?" Zethka demanded. "Sir," called a technician from across the room. "We're receiving a transmission from the edge of our sensor range. It's a human ship." The main screen activated, showing the image of a vessel unlike anything the Council had ever seen. It was sleek and white, clearly built for diplomacy rather than war. But it was also enormous, easily 3 times the size of the largest Council ships. "Attention Galactic Council Station," came a calm female voice. "This is the Use Harmony requesting permission to dock. I am Ambassador Sarah Martinez, representing the United Earth Government. I believe you're expecting me." Zethka looked around the room at his nervous staff. This was it, the moment that would change everything. "Grant them docking permission," he said quietly, 2 hours later. Zethka stood in the Council's main chamber, watching as the massive doors opened to admit the first human ever to set foot in this sacred space. Ambassador Martinez entered alone, wearing a simple blue uniform with no weapons or guards. She was smaller than Zethka had expected. Not much taller than Dr. Yilan, with short brown hair and intelligent eyes that seemed to take in everything around her. But there was something about the way she moved, a confidence that spoke of hidden strength, that reminded everyone watching that she came from a world where everything was trying to kill you. The council chamber held representatives from 47 different species, and all of them were staring at the human with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Martinez walked to the center of the room and looked around calmly, showing no sign of being intimidated by the alien faces surrounding her. "Honorable council members," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "I come here today, not as a conqueror or a threat, but as someone who hopes to build a bridge between our peoples." Councillor Vrix, the tree-like alien, leaned forward in his seat. "Ambassador Martinez, your species has been isolated from the galaxy for decades. Why do you choose to reveal yourselves now?" Martinez smiled slightly. "Because 3 weeks ago, we received a distress call from people who needed help. When good people cry out for protection from evil, humanity cannot stand by and do nothing. Your ship destroyed an entire pirate fleet," said Admiral Corks, his gray skin darker than usual, with worry. "Your weapons are unlike anything we've seen. Many of us are concerned about what your people might do if they decide we are their enemies. I understand your fear, Martinez replied. Where we come from, we have a saying, with great power comes great responsibility. Humanity has learned this lesson through thousands of years of war and struggle. We know what happens when the strong prey upon the weak, and we have sworn never to become that which we fought against. Dr. Yolande stood up from her seat. But how can we trust you? Your planet is classified as a death world. Everything we know about such places suggests that their inhabitants must be violent and aggressive to survive. Martinez nodded thoughtfully. You're right that Earth is a dangerous place. We have predators that can kill with a single bite, weather that can destroy entire cities, and diseases that have wiped out millions of our people. But do you know what that taught us? She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of as many council members as she could. It taught us to value life. When you live on a world where death is always close, you learn to protect what matters most: family, friends, innocent people who cannot protect themselves. Yes, we are dangerous when we need to be. But we are only dangerous to those who threaten the things we love. Zethka felt something change in the chamber's atmosphere. The fear was still there, but it was being replaced by something else: hope. What do you want from us? He asked. Nothing, Martinez replied simply. We're not here to demand tribute or territory. We're not here to impose our will on other species. We're here to offer our friendship to those who want it, our protection to those who need it, and our knowledge to those who seek to learn. And if we refuse? Asked Counselor Vrix. Then we'll go home and leave you in peace, Martinez said. But we'll keep listening to the distress calls that echo through space. And when innocent people cry out for help, we'll answer, whether you approve or not. The chamber fell silent as the council members considered her words. They were being offered a choice: accept humanity as equals and work together to build a better galaxy, or maintain their isolation and watch as humans acted independently to protect the innocent. Admiral Corks was the first to speak. Your captain, Chun, killed hundreds of pirates at Kepler 442c. She showed no mercy to those who surrendered. She showed no mercy to those who had murdered innocent people, Martinez corrected. The pirates who surrendered without blood on their hands were turned over to your authorities with full documentation of their crimes, Captain Chun distinguished. Between those who could be redeemed and those who had chosen evil, that distinction is important to us. Another council member, a blue-skinned alien with tentacles instead of arms, raised a question. What about our laws, our treaties? Will humans respect our authority in our own space? We will respect any law that protects the innocent and punishes the guilty, Martinez replied. But we will not stand by while evil people hide behind legal technicalities to hurt others. If your laws protect predators and abandon victims, then yes, we will ignore them. The debate continued for hours. Some council members argued that humanity was too dangerous to trust. Others pointed out that the humans had already proven their good intentions by risking their lives to save the Zilani. A few suggested that the galaxy needed protectors who weren't bound by the slow bureaucracy that had failed so many innocent people. Finally, Zethkar called for order. Ambassador Martinez, if we were to accept humanity as members of the galactic community, what would that look like? Martinez had been waiting for this question. We propose a simple arrangement. Earth will establish embassies in major systems and share our technology for peaceful purposes. In return, we ask only for the right to respond to distress calls and the authority to pursue criminals who prey upon innocent people across system boundaries. You want us to make you galactic police? Admiral Corks asked suspiciously. No, Martinez said firmly. We want you to let us do what we've always done, protect those who cannot protect themselves. The difference is that now we're asking permission. Instead of simply acting, Dr. Yolande looked thoughtful. What about your weapons, the ones that destroyed the pirate fleet? Defensive technology will be shared freely. Offensive capabilities will remain under human control, but will only be used against those who threaten innocent lives. We're not interested in conquering anyone. We have enough problems keeping our own planet habitable. The vote, when it finally came, was closer than Zethka had expected. 26 council members voted to accept humanity's offer, while 21 voted against. It was enough. The motion passes, Zethka announced. Humanity is hereby recognized as a sovereign member of the galactic community with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. Ambassador Martinez bowed respectfully. Thank you for your trust. I promise you won't regret this decision. As the council session ended and the various alien representatives filed out of the chamber, Zethka approached the human ambassador. I hope you understand the significance of what just happened, he said quietly. For the first time in galactic history, we've given one species the authority to act as protectors for all others, Martinez smiled. We understand the responsibility, Commander. Where I come from, there's an old saying, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. We've been watching over Earth for thousands of years. Now we'll watch over the galaxy too. 6 months later, the changes were visible throughout civilized space. Human embassies had been established in 12 major systems, each one staffed by diplomats who spoke dozens of alien languages and understood the unique needs of different species. More importantly, the UES Retribution and her sister ships patrolled the spaceways between systems, their sensors always listening for distress calls. Pirates and slavers who had once operated with impunity now fled at the first sign of human vessels. Several criminal organizations had disbanded entirely rather than face the Deathworlders' justice. Captain Chun stood on the bridge of the Retribution, as it orbited a peaceful trading station in the Centauri system. Her ship had responded to 3 distress calls in the past month, each time arriving in time to prevent tragedy. Captain, called Lieutenant Rodriguez, we're receiving a transmission from Earth Command. Fleet Admiral Harrison wants to know our status. Tell the Admiral that all is quiet on the frontier, Chun replied. The galaxy is learning that some people will always stand up for what's right. She looked out at the stars through the bridge's main window. Somewhere in that vast darkness there were probably people in danger who needed help. Pirates planning their next raid. Slavers hunting for new victims. Bullies who thought they could prey on the weak without consequences. They were wrong. Humanity was watching now, and they had brought their own brand of justice to the stars. The galaxy would never be the same, because the Deathworlders had arrived, not as conquerors, but as guardians who would never let evil triumph while good people needed protection. In the depths of space, the Retribution continued its patrol. Ready to answer the next call for help? Because that's what humans did. They protected those who couldn't protect themselves, no matter how far from home that duty took them.